120%. Congo Brazzaville 117.7% for 2017. So people are borrowing. But the question is, what do you use the money for? That is what the findings revealed. Now, yes, if you use the monies for the purposes intended, then there is no gainsaying that the money is worth pursuing. But if you go in for the borrowing for intended project A, but the project cannot be accounted for, then that is where we have a challenge as a nation. So the borrowing in itself is not bad. Now look at the case of United States, 105.40%. United States has one of the highest credit rating in the world. AAA for Fitch, AA for Standard & Poor's, Moody's the AAA. Now Fitch says United States government should raise the debt ceiling or face downgrading. You know, what does that tell you? It means the 105.4 is even not enough. Increase the debt to about 110. If not, we will downgrade you from AAA to about AA. Yes. So the debt in itself is not an issue. But if you are able to effectively account to the people for the debt that you have contracted, that is what matters. And that is what we were finding ourselves wanting in that particular regard. So that is what I would say about the borrowing. And then the last one, Mr. Boy also talked about entrepreneurship, a very strong one. Laudable. Some of us have mentioned that if you're able to put the necessary structures in place, we'll be able to, in the not too distant future, have the likes of the Gates, the Warren Buffett, the Dangotes in our midst. You know, so how are we going to do this? By encouraging entrepreneurial spirit. And that is why, if you look at the budget that was read, it is pivoted around 6 pillars. First is the infrastructure development. Second, modernization of agricultural activities in the country. 3, industrialization drive. 4 is entrepreneurial spirit. And then the 5th one is improving on the efficiency of revenue mobilization and protecting the public purse. And then the 6th is the social intervention. So entrepreneurial activities, you know, are taking a center stage in next year's activities. Now, it doesn't mean they were not featured currently. If you look at the president's personal initiative to ensure that the mentioning of the Nation Builder Score in last year's budget, which was implemented this year, would come to fruition. That is the 100,000 young graduates from the polytechnics and then the universities means we are on course. Before this, we also heard about the president inviting some shortlisted.
Okay, our time on this topic has really passed out to Dr. We need to move on to.
But it is the crux of the discussion.
It is the crux of the discussion. So I believe that the focus, the drive, we should put more priority on entrepreneurship.
Yes, the young, invest in the young ones. And that is exactly what is important.
And here I want to say that issues of partisanship should be put aside.
This call, it's a very beautiful call, but I don't see it being realistically realized.
I am making that point a common cause. That's what he's saying. A national cause.
To buttress my point, I did a recent one, which I'm yet to put up there. And what I've seen is that swing voters seems to be increasing these days.
Yeah, the number.
And they are moving between the two parties. Moomen, that is very, very important. They are moving between the two political parties. So you see NPP people moving to NDC to vote for them because a policy will favor them. Because a policy was implemented that favored him or her. So now issues of loyalty, political party loyalty, is becoming a thing of the past. And so if you put objectivity ahead of subjectivity, national interest ahead of personal party interest, it will help your cause in future.
Edwin, let's have a last bite on this and then we'll move on.
Oh yes, my last bite is that the budget is a good one. Let's support it. Let government find the resources to implement it. Let them do their best in subsequent years to reduce the deficits on all budgets. It will help all of us. Ultimately, if they're able to implement the things they say they would do, a lot of Ghanaians will be happy with them.
All right, and many of our viewers have already been contributing to this discussion. From Mystic in Ansawam Adejuri, he said, "We said it. The budget is full of repetitions, deception, empty rhetoric. The government should go to Abusokai, KGTR, Kantamanto, lorry parks and shops, and they'll get to know the hardships Ghanaians are going through. The microeconomic indicators are not reflecting in the lives of Ghanaians. It will be preposterous and gibberish for someone to say that all those who are complaining of hardships were on the payroll under the previous government. I will take this opportunity to wish NDC well in the upcoming National Congress, and of course that's one issue we'll be talking about subsequently before we draw the curtains. The NDC is serving as the National Delegates Congress today here in Accra. We'll talk about that subsequently on the show. Minority might have a point, so they should have given the chance to brief them why they think it doesn't have impact on the mere Ghanaian, but their chance to explain was denied, and they also walked out. You're talking about proceedings in the House of Parliament yesterday. Robert Toroski from Tamale, you sent in that message. Okay. Someone sent me a voice message. Of course, I cannot play your voice for people to listen to here. But good morning. I'm Moomen Usman from Awebo in the western region of Ghana. The budget of 2019 is full of debt that will be paid by our grandchildren. Oh, Ghana, you say. Good morning. Indeed, Ghana is working again in the hands of Nana Akufo-Addo. The budget read by the finance minister was encouraging, and by 2019, we will see more deplorable rules would have been constructed, like Ahafo Fidim to Kenyasi Road and many others. Greetings to Honorable Yaousu Drimpon, CEO. Okay. And then this one, when you send me very long messages, unfortunately, I will be unable to read them out. Good morning to you and your viewers. I am Al-Hassan Wunwana Inwa. The budget that was presented to the August House and to the good people of Ghana yesterday was the budget, one, that speaks to the needs of Ghanaians who are hardworking. Two, it reflects the government's commitment to building human capital through improvements in health and education. Three, it promotes our commitment to sustainable development goals and takes fundamental steps towards Ghana's Beyond Aid agenda, and also four, to enable us to face the future with confidence. And so we have very many varied opinions concerning the budget. But one other very important issue that came up within the week under discussion is the issue of tariffs, and the Daily Graphic of Thursday reported, and I read that headline to you earlier, that the reduced utility tariffs is on the page 3 of the Daily Graphic. The Trade Union Congress has called on the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission to further reduce electricity and water tariffs by 15% and 12% respectively. Such a reduction, the Labour Union said, would stimulate economic growth and empower businesses to create more jobs. In 2019, it is expected that the price of fuel and natural gas will reduce. Inflation is also expected to decline to a single digit, and the value of Ghana cedi is expected to be stable. Therefore, we propose a further reduction in electricity tariffs by 15% and reduction in water tariffs by 12%. The statement issued in Accra said. I'll start with you, Mr. Boahin. The TUC may have a point, considering the fact that we just discussed the issues on the budget, and the indications, as I understand from what I've been reading from the budget, are that first of all, interest rates will come down. The cedi will be stabilized, and indeed we've seen in the last few weeks there's been some relative stability with the cedi. We are also told, and these are the issues that have been raised by the TUC, that if the cedi will stabilize and the inflation will come down to a single digit, then why don't we reduce the tariffs on electricity and water? Good call, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is, especially as we are looking at Ghana Beyond Aid, and especially with the budget also focusing on a lot of entrepreneurial drives and boosting industrialization, it means that once these utilities are reduced, what it means is that businesses can also produce more. What it means is that they can also sort of recruit more hands to help. And that simply, from economic terms, would sort of create more money and then put more money in the system, so that at least, the hardship that we started going through since last year up to now, at least will be reduced. And if you are able to create more, businesses, because of the fact that electricity has been reduced and that kind of thing, it means that we can also move forward to also increase our GDP and develop the country in the direction that has been defined as it is in the budget. So we need it. We need it. Even in our domestic, circles, the cost of electricity, when you ask the ordinary person on the street, the person will tell you it is not easy. To the extent that some homes are paying over 300, 400 Ghana cedis on electricity.
It also depends on what those homes use. The more you use, the more you should pay.
Yes, that one is justified. But what I'm saying is that at least it will put some kind of disposable income. In the
but let's look at the other factors, Mr. Boyan, before I come to you, Mr. Dunkusapia. In 2015, 2016, when we had issues of erratic power supply, sometimes no power supply at all, we were told by the NPP, who are now in power, that it wasn't an issue of not having the capacity to generate, and that it was a financial problem. We didn't have the money to either purchase fuel to power some of the plants we had, and so on. If we are today talking about reducing the cost of electricity, are we not scared that eventually we might return to a point, if that argument was anything to go by, we might return to a point where we will be talking about not having money to pay for power? I mean, in order to generate electricity for us to use in our domestic affairs and industries.
I think that you see, when you look at this, our utility setups, the question of waste is too much in there. It is not a question of generating money, to finance or to manage the facilities. I will look at it from the waste in the system. If you are able to be efficient in our management approach, with regards to these institutions, I believe that even if you reduce the tariffs, the managers should be able to manage it very well, and that we can move on rather than always even dependent on government to even help them or bail them out in certain situations. You see, because sometimes you walk on the streets of Accra, a pipeline is burst, water is just gushing out, and nobody seems to care. You see, so at the end of the day, that burden comes back to the ordinary Ghanaian. If you walk along the high tensions and you hear certain sound, that is power wastage. I hope you are aware.
Then we are wasting a lot, because honestly, before now, I thought that was very normal with the high tension cables. They make a lot of noise.
Yes, power wastage. Because
something is not right.
Something is not right. The cables we are using, the conductivity is low, and so a lot of the power comes out. Exactly. You see.
Okay. Yes, I also didn't know, but Edwin, tell me.
Yes.
So, are you also for the reduction of tariffs? And if you are, then let's return to the question I posed to yes, about the fear of returning to a point where the states can no longer subsidize, and therefore will return to doom so, which we all were very much afraid of.
Yes. So you see, I very much like what the good doctor said. It is a very, very good thing if we are all able to get some, if you like, reduction in these utility tariffs that we are paying, you see. But much as I ascribe for that, I also would say that we have to be careful or measured, especially because of some of the things you said. Maybe even if we go for reduction, we should also consider the quantum they're asking for, 15%, that percent, which may be a bit high. You see, December is coming. Most companies will pay their workers bonuses. If you get your bonus and you use all of it to spend the Christmas, you know that January is going to be very, very tough for you. It's the same analogy. You know, if you're working to make things better, you should not look at enjoying so much tax rebate here and there, because all of them put together will eventually come back to hurt you. Will increase the difficulty you are in eventually. So I would say that when we are making gains, let's also think about how we can put some money aside for difficulty. I agree absolutely with Doctor that most of the problems we have is with wastage. And we call on these utility providers to be very ingenious in how they come about these things. There should be intelligent metering everywhere for water and electricity. I mean, they should be able to sit in their office and determine who is using what water if they have not paid, to shut it by computer in their office. You don't have to have men coming to people's house. Well, you come to my house and I've locked the door, or I have a big dog like myself. How are you going to even check? You see, they should look to those areas so that even if they are spending money, even if they are borrowing money, to make sure that they have used intelligent metering everywhere, then we know that you're going to get the monies back very quickly. So let us look at all of those options in going forward, you know. But I'm the type that I would rather have something small to eat today and something small to eat tomorrow than have a lot to eat today and starve tomorrow. So that's my
and one thing, then I'll come to Doc as well, because Mr. Warren talked about wastage. The other one is power stealing. I mean, how does how do they go about monitoring people who have stolen power? And you know, because if you are able to block all those theft cases, it will be a lot of money. That would be Doc,
it's just to add, you see, it's part of the address system and everything. Your ability to locate people. Look, especially when you go to very clustered areas, a lot of people have tapped electricity from all kinds of angles, including from the main source itself, and using, and nobody, you know, and those are the people that do anything. You'll be amazed. You go to a very ramshackle place and the person has an air conditioning, and because he doesn't have to pay, I have an air conditioning in my home. I barely put it on. You see, but he is his own 24/7 because he doesn't have to pay anything.
And sometimes some of these illegal connections are done in collaboration with some elements from within.
That is very true.
Yes. Okay. So Doc, let me have your take on this matter.
Yes. Thank you very much. I think Mr. Boyne, Edwin have all spoken. Now, if you look at it, Mr. Boyne's submission was from business perspective, especially when it's coming from the Trade Union Congress. So the TUC is mindful of the effect of some of these measures on the whole nation, but their main focus is on the people they lead. That is the workforce, and therefore their pronouncement to a very large extent are intended to provide some economic buffer for their followers, and that is the angle from which we look at it and generalize. Now the call is not out of place, especially when you admit to the fact that they have mentioned some specific targets set out by the government herself, which have to do with the probable reduction in the price of fuel and also natural gas, and the likelihood that the inflation for next year will reduce to 8%. It means we do not expect prices to skyrocket in the following year. Now, besides that, the measures that have already rolled out, I don't know if I had the chance to mention here, with our importers making sure they go to the important destination with the specific currency. Now, those going to China, making sure they fly out with the Chinese renminbi. Those going to Dubai with the United Arab Emirates dirham. Going to South Korea to bring in the spare parts, you go with the South Korean won, and what have you. With this, and also the Bank of Ghana coming out with the measure to in a way cushion the current arrangement, which has to do with providing identification cards for the exchange of the foreign currency at the various forex bureaus. You realize these are intended to stabilize the city. Now, if the TUC should sit unconcerned without any pronouncement in favor of the workforce, which invariably has many people who are academically, intellectually discerning, then they may be questioned for not coming out to say something in support of the people that they are accountable to. And that is the basis for their submission. Indeed, the consideration or the proposal is for 15% to electricity and 12% to water. What it basically means is that now with the current system we have, this is what I would put out immediately. After 2014, that we had the power outage. Joining IMF by the previous administration, one of the conditionalities was to scrap off the subsidies for water, electricity, and also the fuel. And so the prices we pay for electricity and water now are near the outright figures we have to. And therefore, just like the fuel, the water and electricity under the Public Utility Regulatory Commission is somewhat automated. It means automatic price adjustment is taking place. That is the basis for TUC submission. That if you look at these factors to determine what tariff we should pay, that is inflation going up, price of fuel needed to power the plants are going up, and then the natural gas needed to power some of these plants, the price is also going up, and we decide to increase or review the tariff upwardly. Then all things being equal, if these prices are likely to go down, then let it reflect on the price we pay for these utilities. That is basically what they are talking about. And the argument has also been raised about the shifting of the management excesses in some of these utility companies onto the final consumer, which you've all touched on. I know the utility companies, which are the electricity company and water company, are trying to make sure they plug the necessary loopholes that we've mentioned. Our development journey as it is now makes it difficult for them to realize the objective overnight. But as we advance in terms of digitization of the economy, that is having a strong address system, making sure we construct roads in the slum areas that he nicely described as the ramshackle. If you're able to do this and we have easy access, it will be easier for you to computerize the system and remotely determine where there are some illegal connections. But for now, where you chase someone and he or she passes classes here, and it is difficult to trace.
And look, I can tell you that there are some places in Accra that officials
They go there.
they don't even.
I know of the place you have not mentioned. Some in the heart of the city. I know my own people. If you haven't invited, you postpone the invitation. That is true. But you see,
The guy who reads my meter comes like 4 times a month. Every morning he's there.
I'm aware of all this, but interestingly, it boils down to education, and that is why some of us are behind the call for the free education. As we educate more people will become self-conscious of some of these things and realize, no, we are not helping the nation. We are backtracking the economic progress of this country, and therefore, let's shy away from it. If we have current crop of generation, that is not buying into the forward movement of the nation, that is fine. Let us make sure the upcoming generation will buy into the positive and not follow in the footsteps of the current generation that do not help the common cause of the country. So one way of addressing this challenge is, to some extent, making sure the subsequent generation does not tap into the current situation. And that is where we're going as a nation. So for this, you don't mention them.
Okay.
Let's leave it.
Yes, and for those who want a breakdown of the budgets, I often refer to the layperson, the ordinary Ghanaian out there. On Monday on the Breakfast Show, Dr. Eben Ashley will be here. The producers will bring out some key highlights of the 2019 budget, and Doc will try and break it down to the understanding of the ordinary Ghanaian. So issues such as inflation and the GDP, which we understand, the expenditure and the revenue, and all those things will be explained to you. And so you will also get to understand what it is that the finance minister read to the House of Parliament. But Doc, one of your own colleagues, he is with the University for Development Studies in Yankpala, has sent a message disputing some of the things you've said here, which is allowed in academia. He says that, how can you say Ghana is lucky that China is giving Ghana money? And this is from Dr. Jasper. He says, how can you say that Ghana is lucky that China is giving Ghana money for risk bauxite? There is a rush for natural resources in Africa in the last 2 decades. So Africa has no problem attracting foreign direct investment into its natural resources. The problem with this sort of investment is their enclave nature. The extractive industries are not linked to other sectors of the economy, so there are no positive spillovers, spillover effects on the economy. Extractive industries are vehicles for the exploitation of Africa's natural resources, not only for the development of the continent, but for the benefit of both the old and new industrialized countries. We should get this historical and empirical fact right. Dr. Jasper, University for Development Studies.
Let me explain. I'm not reacting. Yes, I'm not reacting. Let me explain. It sounds more theoretical. In submission. Let me explain what I mean. The nation needs money for development. Our primary aim is to go in for a loan so that we can advance our socio-economic development activities. You go in and you have to submit yourself to what in banking we call the canons of good lending. The first one is the purpose of your borrowing. How do you pay back? What are the terms of payments? What are the collateral securities that you provide? Now, if the lender is satisfied with all these submissions, then the funds will be released. Here's the case: we indicated how we could pay back the loans. The Chinese government was not convinced that we'll be able to pay back in terms that we have outlined. Quickly, we said, well, if you are not convinced, we have other natural resources like the gold, we have the bauxite, that we could even make some available or serve as a collateral to a very large extent, to make sure that you release the funds.
Okay.
Now,
usually we don't allow you to respond to.
Yes, I just explaining so that those, but it's not necessarily to him alone. There may be many people who are thinking.
And like we said, Monday we'll do all that. Okay. Thanks very much. A quick one before we go on that break. Good morning, sir. Concerning the affordable housing President Kufuor built, what are they doing? And by they, I'm sure you're referring to the government. What are they doing about it? Do they want to leave it to become like a white elephant, like the Komfanoche Hospital maternity ward, or Ghana? Who will save us, the taxpayers? Emilia from Cape Coast, you sent that message. And then this one says, there are over $8 billion cash awards, including cash prizes for informal sector entrepreneurs, example traders, artisans, ECT. 10 of them will be selected randomly. Well, I'm sure he's referring to the point you made about entrepreneurship, but please, when you are sending in the messages, make sure you make them as brief and as clear as possible so we can let the rest of Ghana understand what the point is. Good morning. The budget is just a continuation of the ever-failing promises of the NPP. However, the payment to contractors is based on political grounds. Even at all, how do you owe someone for 4 years only to pay him less than 20% and call that payment, or expect him to go back to work with that? Okay, thank you very much. We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll look at university education. You do recall that yesterday the KNUST, which was temporarily closed down due to the demonstrations by some students, and you are aware of the dissolution of the council and the reinstitution of a council, and well, we'll talk about all that, but then we'll also find time to talk about 2 more universities to be established soon. Which are these 2 universities? Stay with us. We'll bring you the details when we return from this break.
He be the most high God and the most high one, the creator of the universe. Hey. God bless him more, to not have for competitors. It's over the one as I never chicken and Baba God, and I go day. Allah, Baba. You can't mean the bushy. May you would in a you, my am a minute. I was me, I'm a
Women's Under 17 World Cup Uruguay 2018 live here on GTV Sports Plus and GTV Sports Plus. The legends live here.
Hey Daddy, I want to try.
No, Anna Leticia.
At tender ages, a set of identical triplets lose both wealthy parents in a car crash caused by one of them, Anna Leticia. Grandma takes custody of her and her sister Anna Laura, who loses a leg in the accident. The third, Anna Lucia, falls into the hands of a woman, Soledad, who, in desperate need of a child, refuses to surrender her to her family. Mischievous Anna Leticia marries a skillful investigator, Marcelo, who is bent on using his expertise to find Anna Lucia. Unaware that his greedy wife is uninterested, he goes ahead. She hires an assassin to eliminate him to keep alive the prospect of not sharing her family's wealth and love with any other. The assassin strikes hard. Unsuccessful though he was, Anna Leticia's husband loses his memory. Remedios, who helps him survive the attack, renames him Santiago. His only memory is a woman's face, and when he recognizes that face in Anna Lucia, he falls in love with her. How does Anna Letitia react? For how this web of love, hate, mystery, and grief is disentangled. Watch The Three Sides of Anna at 9 p.m. from Monday to Thursday, and highlights for the week at 8 p.m. on Saturdays, only on GTV.
The Three Sides of Anna.
Welcome to Global Word, brought to you by the Global Evangelical Church. The Global Evangelical Church is a Bible-believing church engaged in winning souls, making disciples, and empowering the saints for ministry.
The placenta can prematurely separate from the womb.
Babies actually develop their hearing by 7 months in utero. While they are in the womb,
it gets to stay in your child's teeth, and you wonder why my baby have yellow teeth.
Some of them are very active, and then people say this child is a very bad child, it's so naughty, but they probably have a problem.
I don't think a man can prove his fertility. It's a woman who usually can't prove the fertility by carrying
pregnant unless there's a DNA test.
Fruit of the Womb. Watch Fruit of the Womb this and every Sunday at 6 p.m. on GT. Brought to you by Vita, Cousins Baby, and Camel Baby Antiseptic, and endorsed by Pediatric Society of Ghana and Ghana Registered Midwives Association.
GBC Milestone Christmas Mega Sales and Exhibition. Are you a shop owner, an artisan, a poultry farmer, or a livestock dealer, an insurance company, a real estate developer, or a designer? Do you operate a restaurant, sell clothes, shoes, or have a decor for Christmas? The GBC Milestone Mega Sales and Exhibition 2018 is here for you. The Mega Sales and Exhibition is from 10 December to 16 December at the forecourt of GBC. Grab your exhibition stands now at GBC Marketing or call Milestone House on 0208 888114 or 0244 523814 or 0205 107705. Don't be told, be there and harvest your Christmas money. This event is powered by Milestone House and GBC.
Hello Ghana, it's happening. It's Saturday Keep Fit. The biggest aerobics, dance, Zumba and yoga workout. Come and keep fit every Saturday morning. Get free medical screening, check your sugar and cholesterol levels, free eye screening and lots more. It's Saturday Keep Fit.
King was able to kill his own brother, and still made that down. No, I'm got a problem to sue me. Papa, Wahawana, on your one, Alpha and Omega. I was solving a simple amor on the Tungo. The my artist, a billionaire with just a single album in your Vimgo. Into Fogim Shenumu, or I didn't get no Fortunodo, and no Fortunodo. Watch them also want to go to myself for what's up for Nodo, but they call in Senior Whisker, never one of the spot and no, you know. Yeah, what I mean, me and not Tassie. Then I want to know what's in a way. I'm a mama,
with the raw materials.
Well, welcome back. This is the Big Breakfast Show with me in the studio, three gentlemen, Dr. Eben Ashley, Mr. Edwin Kusiapia, and Mr. Tutu Buahin. We have been having discussions around some of the stories that made headlines within the week, and of course the budget statement has taken precedence, and we also spent some time talking about the TUC's call for the reduction of utility tariffs, but of course we have been told about the KNUST as well as the intention to bring out 2 more universities, and that's what we will be looking at and the rest of the time that we have here. KNUST reopens Friday. That was yesterday, and I'll bring you that story right now, as reported by the Daily Graphic. After 3 weeks of closure, fluid violence and destruction of property by students, the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology is set to so now has reopened, but this was on Thursday. So yes, the statement signed by the registrar of the KNUST, Mr. A.K. Boateng, and issued in Kumasi yesterday, said lectures would resume on Monday, November 19, 2018. He said the decision to reopen after its closure on October 22, 2018 followed a special council meeting yesterday and in consultation with the Ashanti Regional Security Council. Earlier in the day, the Minister of Education, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, had sworn into office 6 new members of the governing council of the university. They are 4 representatives of the government, a new representative of the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools, and a representative of the National Council for Tertiary Education. The new members are Nana Efa Penting, and then the names go on and on and on. But basically, KNUST has reopened, and I'd like us to look at how the Ghanaian Times also reported this issue on its Wednesday issue, and it's on page 16. It says here, KNUST, all is set for the reopening of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology on Friday, following the inauguration of a new governing council of the university. The Chancellor of the university, the Asante Otunfosu Etutu II, has set up a 5-member committee to conduct a full, transparent inquiry that would probe the circumstances that led to the disturbances at the university and eventually led to the closure of the university. He told the council that anybody or group, including the Vice Chancellor, Professor Obridanso, who had issues concerning the circumstances leading to the disturbances, should be given fair hearing by the committee, and every accusation must be proven. Mr. Boyan, I'll start with you. You are with university, and you were here. We had this discussion. Are you now excited about the way things have been handled at the KNUST?
Yes, it is good to hear that KNUST is coming back, and I think that it is good for academia. It is good for Ghana. It is good for our development. I think that the Asante has done a very good job. I also take the opportunity to also commend the current government and how the role they've also played so far. Initially, it was like the government had some negative idea and for this, for the reason why they decided to dissolve the council. But going forward, I think it has also become clear that there was any negative intentions attached to it. I believe that the lecturers and the school management, they are all ready for the kickoff. And I know that once the students are back, the lecturers are going to do everything in their power to ensure that they also do the extra job to fill in the lost times. I'll also take the opportunity to also advise.
Could you project a little? Our viewers want to hear you louder. Yes.
I also want to take the opportunity to also advise the students and the SRC management that at least at the university there are structures, there are systems, and so they may have grievances. So at least they should also try as much as possible to use some of these systems once they have any issue to discuss with management. Because if the government had taken some position, entrenched position, which could have made this whole process difficult, what it means is that the students were going to suffer, from their own actions. And so going forward in future, if anything like this comes up, what I would advise is that they should use all the necessary avenues to resolve some of these problems, so that they will not at the end be the losers. I think that the university authorities should also sometimes, reason with students, because when you look at the background of all these